Hello, everybody. Today we are going to review the commas before tomorrow's quiz. Commas are one of the most confusing lessons you'll study for punctuation. Commas have got 7 usages that we will discuss today, okay? I'll just need laser focus with me here to be able to identify all of the usages of the commas. Let's start with the first one, okay? Number one is the introductory elements. An introductory element is basically a phrase that comes before a sentence. A phrase is a group of words. Kind of like if I say running fast. Okay, first of all, running fast. Is this a complete sentence? Do we have a subject here? No. So this is a phrase, right? A phrase is a group of words that don't make a complete sentence, right? So I'll have to add a comma first before I state the complete sentence. Running fast, I caught the bus. So right away here you can see that this is a complete sentence. It contains the subject and the verb, right? So this is a sentence, a complete sentence. So whenever you have a phrase before it, these can be separated together by use of a comma. Clear? So for the first usage is an introductory element, which is a phrase before a sentence. And this has to be at the beginning of a sentence. Okay, moving on to the second usage. The second usage is pretty simple, which is listing. So whenever we have a list, let's say listing. Whenever you have a list which will contain 3 items or more, like you can say, I bought shirts, t-shirts, comma, and pants, right? So you need to use commas in between the 3 items. Kind of goes like this. I bought shirts, comma, t-shirts, comma, and pants. Cool. So in here, we have used 2 commas, and the last one is comma and, right? Remember? So whenever we have a list, we'll have many commas, and the last one has a comma and. This last comma is called an Oxford comma. It's optional. It's not very important. You might not see it in some texts, but it's there. Write it. Whenever you do writing, just write it. Okay, the third usage for a comma is whenever there is an additional piece of information, like if you're adding some information to give extra details about someone. Let me just write additional information first. Okay, so the additional information is whenever you are talking about someone and giving extra details. Like, I can say, Nadine, comma, the new student, okay, is very smart. As you can see here, the main sentence actually is Nadine is very smart, right? So what's about the new student, like the parts between the 2 commas? Actually, the part between these 2 commas here, highlighted in the middle, is just extra piece of information. It's an extra detail. So we call it, yeah, this is the extra info. So we call it an additional piece of information. So if it asks you in the exam why are the commas used here, you'll just say because of the additional information. Okay? Type. Use number 4. Moving on. Whenever we have a compound sentence, you remember, guys, the compound sentences use fanboys, right? So and fanboys are called the coordinating conjunction. It's like another fancy name for fanboys, right? So let's write here before a coordinating conjunction. Okay, before a coordinating conjunction means before fanboys, like we should add a comma before any of those. Which is pretty easy and simple. You'll find it in a sentence pretty much like this. I was tired, oopsie, comma, so I slept, right? So the comma and so here is just to separate two main clauses, or you can just say, to make it easy, before a coordinating conjunction. Also, whenever we have a complex sentence, the complex sentence contains a subordinating conjunction. There's gonna be like more details about the types of sentences. Gonna probably make a separate video just like this one to explain to you guys all of the types of sentences, okay? That for now, I'm assuming that you already know the complex and the compound sentences. Number 5, which is in a complex sentence, and any complex sentence contains two parts, right? You've taken this last year and the year before too. In a complex sentence, there should be a subordinate clause and a main clause. Okay, these two parts together are separated by a comma. Let's write this here. To separate a main and subordinate clause. Okay. How to identify this? It's gonna be in the sentence quite like this. If I write any subordinating conjunction at the beginning, and I'm gonna give you a list of all of the subordinating conjunctions there are in English, which are like a lot. They're not for memorizing, but just to understand that this is a subordinating conjunction, and it will create a subordinate clause. It will look like one of these, like since I felt hot, I felt that it was hot, comma, I opened the window. Actually, let me write this here. Okay, guys, so here we have got two sentences, right? The first one is, since I felt hot, this is sentence number 1, and the other one, I opened the window, which is sentence number 2. Which one is a subordinate and which one is main clause? Okay, these are called clauses. A clause, guys, is whenever we have a subject and a verb. Okay, that's called a clause. It's basically like a sentence. It's another fancy name for a sentence. Okay, anyways. Number 2 here, this one, I opened the window. It's a complete sentence that can stand on its own. So we call it main clause. I hope I'm not going too fast here, okay? This is a review, so you've taken this before. We're just reviewing together. If you need any extra information about this, if you feel like I'm moving too fast, just text me. I'll send you a voice note to clear it up. Okay, the first one is a subordinate clause because it contains the conjunction, the linking word. So whenever it has the linking word, it means this one is going to be a subordinate clause. Okay, again, so how do I know the difference between a subordinate clause and a main clause? The subordinate clause is like the subordinating conjunction, like the words although, since, because, when, while, etc. So it will have a conjunction plus a sentence. Okay, that's a subordinate clause. The main clause is basically just a sentence without anything before. Okay, so we must add a comma between these two, between the main and the subordinate clause. That's why we wrote here to separate a main and subordinate clause. Okay, the next usage is going to be whenever we have got a quotation, which is pretty simple. Before a quotation. All right. We'll finish the hard stuff. Next ones are going to be easy. So before a quotation, it goes like whenever we have a quotation like Ali said, great, comma, and then quotation, whatever he says is going to be here. But we just have to add a comma before the quotation marks, which are those ones. Okay? Right. Number 7, and the last one, which is between two adjectives. Okay, guys, so whenever we have got two adjectives, then we'll try to separate them with a comma if they are from the same category, if they are coordinate adjectives. I'm not going to go into further details in this. Basically, whenever you have two adjectives, just separate them with a comma. An example for this is going to be like when I say the crazy, comma, city student over there is my best friend. All I just want to clarify here is that whenever you have two adjectives, just separate them by use of a comma. If you can see this, and they ask you why did we use a comma here, just say between two adjectives, and that's it. So these are all of the usages of commas. I'm going to now open up the book, and we'll see together how do we answer questions about this. Okay, there you go. Let's see some questions here. All right, so first sentence. Identify the commas, why commas are used in each of the following sentences. Question 1. Emily, an avid reader, spent hours lost in the world of books. Whenever you have the two commas, remember, whenever you have a comma like this and another one here, and there is some information in between, it's going to be for additional information. So we'll write here, additional information. Okay? That's whenever we have two commas. Okay, the soft, gentle breeze rustled through the leaves. And here we have got two adjectives, so we'll write between two adjectives, obviously. Okay, the third one. The teacher asked the students to open their textbooks, comma, turn to page 50 and begin the exercise. So the teacher asked them to do three things. Open textbooks, turn to page 50 and begin the exercise. Three things, which is a list, right? So we'll say here for listing or to separate items in a list, whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, number 4. After the children had finished their homework, comma, they played outside. Okay, so here we have the word after, which is a subordinating conjunction, making a complex sentence. And remember, the complex sentence has two parts or two clauses, the main and the subordinate, right? So to separate main and subordinate clauses. Okay, the next one is an example of extra information or additional information, which is pretty tough. This one and also question number 7. They're very similar, number 5 and 7. How come? Because both of them are giving examples. So guys, whenever we give examples, it means we're giving more information, which is additional information, right? Like, let's read number 5. The principal mentioned various extracurricular activities. So the teacher told us, or the principal told us, that we were going to do more activities, right? What kind of activities? Then they explain or give example by saying such as basketball and soccer. So they said what kind of activities they're doing, right? So in that case, the comma here is used before an example, right? So what do we write? What's the usage? Identify the usage here. It's going to be for additional information as well. Okay, question number 6. Here we have got a comma before the word for. Remember, for is from fanboys, right? So it will not write here before fanboys, okay? Remember, we've got to use some certain words. So we're going to write the answer here, which is going to be before a coordinating conjunction. Before a coordinating conjunction. There you go. This is how we answer questions about commas. Please feel free to text me whenever you have any questions. That's it for now. Your homework is from page 202 till 206. Please send your homeworks before next session and expect a quiz, an online quiz, which will not take you like 10 minutes at most tomorrow before we do our regular session, right? I'll see you guys. Bye.